Hey guys, Eric with 17 Shard here. Today we're doing another Words of Brandon episode, but I'm an idiot and didn't put things in the right mode when recording. So, I'd either need to put Words of Brandon on our faces as we talked, or not put Words of Brandon on screen. And I decided that putting it on our faces was dumb, so I chose not to. This is totally my fault, and next time I'll do better. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the the news discussion and, of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works in the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
I'm WeiryWriter.
Also joining me, who doesn't know that when I say recording that you should look towards the camera, is Evgeni.
Hello, I've been expecting you.
Okay. And
oh my god,
also,
I get it. I think I get that.
I'm too busy doing the intro to get references. And also joining us, getting a non-American, is Shannon.
Hi everybody, I'm Gray.
And I'm Chaos. Well, yeah, but you live in America, Evgeni. You are currently residing in America.
That is true.
You do have an accent. That much everyone knows.
I also realized I never say my nickname anymore because I assume I am like famous.
Yeah, great. This is just their constant thing to mess up my intro and just confuse me. At least it's not as bad as that time that Ben did that. Like,
oh, that was good times.
You
I'm
guys,
so glad you kept that in.
You guys don't know. In that one episode where Ben did the intro, I was like really angry with that for like weeks, and Ben was like, you should really keep it in the episode. And good thing we recorded it a month in advance, and then I listened to it and I'm like, okay, this is actually funny, but I'm still gonna complain about it to you guys. Speaking of, we are going to talk about Words of Brandon. That was kind of like a segue. Whatever, that's fine. Last time we talked about not the Skyward Tour Words of Brandon, but the pre-Skyward Tour Words of Brandon. And this episode, we're actually going to start with the Skyward Tour Words of Brandon. And Shannon, this is your first Words of Brandon episode, and yeah.
I've never been on a Words of Brandon cast before. This is different.
Yeah, you'll get to stand in for the readers because, or the readers. Yes, you read Shardcast.
The listeners?
The listeners or viewers who, might not, trawl through Arcanum all the time. And to be honest, I trawl through Arcanum in preparing for these episodes, so it works out great. So we hope, as usual, you will learn new things and we'll get some good theorizing in too.
I'm sure I will react to new things.
Great. Ian, why don't you start us off?
So, we're starting with the Skyward release, obviously.
Yep.
And Joy Blue asked, Hoid and Basher / Zahel, they haven't been seen on screen together. Have they been together? Have they met? Brandon, yes. Joy Blue, are they aware that they are both world hoppers? Brandon, I wouldn't necessarily go that far. Here's why I don't like this.
Okay,
Okay.
It's because if Hoid knows that, each one of them independently obviously knows that they are world hopper because they've hopped worlds, right? Yes.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Thank you for that stunning analysis, Evgeni.
Look, I am establishing a baseline.
They both know what
this
they
is the hard-hitting analysis you come to Shardcast.
Look, you should know full well that if you're doing proof by induction, you got to start small. So, trivial case satisfied. Vasher must know that Hoid is a world hopper because when Kaladin talks to him on Roshar, he's like, "Oh, Dust, that old fool."
Right.
Whatever.
Sure.
And so the only reason Brandon might be tricky in his response is if Hoid doesn't know that Vasher has world hopped. But
Maybe.
that seems,
I feel like Hoid is self-centered enough to not pay attention to that sort of thing.
That is reasonable.
There
That is
are
reasonable.
actually so many world hoppers. I feel like it's not particularly notable for Hoid.
I think
You-
Vasher is kind of a big deal, though.
Vasher's kind of a big deal.
Vasher's a big deal, but I'm just saying if he's just looking at him as another world hopper,
Hoid might just be paying attention to other things and not be like razor focused on Nightblood like many of us are.
Yeah, it's like Vasher is a big deal to us. Whether he's a big deal to Hoid is another matter. Because Hoid has plans, and if you don't factor into those plans, I don't think
He
he really cares.
I mean, but Vasher is the equivalent of, like, he has created the first nuclear weapon in the Cosmere.
Well, that's true. Like Hoid does know about Nightblood.
Like,
Yeah. And he
he
stays far
is
away
a
from
person of interest.
it. Yeah.
He might not have connected Vasher to Zahale, though.
I'm sure we will get more on this. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like Hoid might not have like run into Vasher at the Shattered Plains.
That's possible, although they were both in the war camps,
Yeah.
in the Kulin war camp, no less.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, Hoid was only recently became the wit, and Vasher was away traveling until Words of Radiance, by which point Hoid had already left.
Maybe Hoid just doesn't know that Vasher is right now, presently on Roshar at this very moment.
Sure, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
But like, if they like, he actually saw him. It's like, oh yeah, that's Vasher. They haven't run into each other.
Yeah.
Although Vasher was able to recognize Hoid just from Kaladin's description.
I
And
feel like
he identified him as dust, not wit.
like many people in the fandom, some people are very interested in Hoid, right? Like,
I don't think Hoid is a very subtle person.
sometimes he can. But
He can be,
Be under the radar.
yeah, but not when he's the wit, where he's kind of allowed to be more flamboyant in himself.
that's certainly true. Great.
All right. Now
And you
that
can-
we've beaten this one to death, moving on to the next question, which essentially asks if we have seen any shard worlds where the magic system is centered around telepathy. To which Brandon says that he has designed one that he thinks is interesting. It's a very interesting world. One that is currently in the Cosmere, but we don't know if it's going to stay in the Cosmere. So we'll see.
Cool.
Telepathy is cool.
Telepathy is cool.
is awesome. That is my favorite superpower. Easy.
Oh, I just feel like it would require a lot like extra world building.
Yeah, great. Perfect.
Be something
But-
that would be something really wild. And if they became world hoppers, that would I don't know. I feel like it would be really good. I feel like it would just require like a little extra work.
Great. I
Luckily,
want a
this is
rule-based
Brandon.
telepathy. I want a rule-based telepathy magic.
Right.
That sounds amazing.
It might also help us understand how Ruin and Preservation were able to do the thinking, talking, and thinking, listening on
Yeah,
schedule,
that's a
like
good point.
from a mechanical perspective.
Yeah.
Because that is telepathy.
Yeah. Like there's so many ways you can do that in the Cosmere that you just need a magic system to have that foil.
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
would have to be like cognitive to cognitive aspect.
Maybe.
Yep. As kind of that's what they say in Dragonsteel Prime in those sample chapters. Cool. Oh, this next one's spicy, Shannon.
Oh, okay. So the next one, King asks, what would it take for a member of the 17th Shard to convert over to a member of the Ghostbloods?
Ooh.
Interesting. And then Brandon says, oh, the Ghostbloods would actively recruit from them. So I think it would not be terribly difficult. It's going to depend on what kind of 17th Sharder, because there are a lot of non-field agent 17th Sharders, which would be less interesting. Field agents, they would actively recruit. That's wild.
I
actually
know!
don't think I've I saw this one.
I was learning that as I was reading it. What?
I know, you're learning things already. Like, oh, isn't that cool?
You are like a field agent.
The Ghostbloods are recruiting from the 17th Shard?
Which, it makes a lot of sense. Because we know the 17th Shard is strictly non-intervention. But the Ghostbloods are definitely
Very yes
intervening.
intervention, yeah.
So they've definitely succeeded at this, like, and it sounds like at least a couple times.
Yeah.
A regular occurrence, maybe.
With all of the people who are frustrated. It's like, why can't we do anything?
Yep. We also know that Ayatil was a former member of the Shard.
Oh, that is true.
Right.
That is true.
So she is probably an example that she was either directly recruited by the Ghostbloods or she had left the 17th Shard and later on found out, hey, there are people who like to get their hands dirty.
Yeah, I'm sick of just waiting around. Let's get some crap done. Because,
Yep.
I mean, hell, we're, like, kind of annoyed with them already. That was like, come on, just do something.
Yeah.
So I
Tell us
imagine some of
things.
their field agents would feel similarly.
In
Very
World
cool.
17th Shard, very different from Real World
World.
17th
Very,
Shard.
just a little bit.
They
Great.
would
That's,
hate us so much.
That's why we shorten our name to 170H. It's because we don't have to pay. Like, we want to get down
Yeah,
to business.
we can't even spell out the word 17th. That's too long.
Yeah, just get the idea out there and then go hunt for wobs.
Chris,
Nope.
tell me everything you know right now.
Yeah.
This next one, ooh, this is a good one, and I feel this is like a Shardcast inspired one. So Swift asks, how do the Spren in Shadesmar feel about Fabrials? Are they mad that people are trapping Spren? Brandon, let's say there's a wide variety of emotions, but the general response would not be favorable.
I was thinking this ever since it only occurred to me after Oathbringer, but like I was thinking that it was a bad thing. This validates me. I thought so.
See, I don't think it's any inherently worse than riding a horse or saddling up a horse in a wagon or using oxen to plow fields.
Unless the oxen have cousins who can think, and then they would kind of look at you funny.
If the oxen had cousins who could think, I think I would have other problems.
Well, this sounds like they're gonna have other problems.
This
Yeah.
sounds like a thing that will be explored like back half. Then the human and singers conflict is resolved, and then we get the real conflict between Spren and humans. Dun dun dun.
They found
The
a way
rise
to
of the Spren.
enslave. They found a way to enslave Spren. So I mean, it depends on whether the Spren themselves call it that or not.
I mean, that is very interesting, yeah.
And how different varieties of Spren view the divide between true Spren and sub-Spren.
Yep.
Very true.
Yep. Because I don't think the Stormfather was particularly upset that Subspren were being used for anything.
Yeah. Kind of depends. There's a lot of factors, so I'm sure this is going to be one of those things that as we see more of Shadesmar, which I'm sure we will a lot of.
Which the Spren use mantras to get around.
They do.
How
Yeah,
is
but
that
maybe
any
they just
different?
maybe they just feel it's different if, like, how do you release a Spren from a gemstone? Like, the Mandra can...
Yeah. So the thing with the Mandras is they can actually pop out of Shadesmar and go and hang out with, like, giant animals in the physical realm. And the other Spren account for that. Like, they know that their ride can suddenly disappear.
Yeah.
So they're not as trapped as they would be in a Fabrial.
Yeah.
That's a good
like,
point.
It just reminds me of, like, hey, we would raise chickens that we kill for food, but, like, the space that we have for them, like, that's, you know, a moral issue that, you know, people come up with, and maybe Spren are like, hey, you know, these gems, that is too restrictive, then we're not okay with that.
It's too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Oh, baby. This next one. People asking the good questions right here.
So, Orange Jedi asked about the large creatures walking in the high storm that we've noticed.
Yes.
And specifically that people who see them don't seem to be super fazed by them. Do they know these creatures exist? Is it part of their lore? Brennan says, yes, but you've got to also remember that people who are out in high storms, they expect to see odd things when you're out in a high storm. It does not faze you in the same way that if you go to a horror movie, you expect something horrific to happen. Orange Jedi, do they have a name for said creatures? Brennan, there are names in various parts of the lore, but there is no one name. Orange Jedi, could you give us one of them? Brandon unhelpfully says no.
Thanks, Brandon.
Okay, that explains Dalinar's reaction. So I think about that. He's out in the high storm to like try and find his knife, right? And he's this giant creature, and he just flips it off.
Yeah.
So,
and the fandom has called them Stormstriders. Thanks, Evgeni.
Yeah, I was sort of like this does explain a little bit of that moment because I was confused by that. I was like, why doesn't he seem weirded out by this?
Yeah, I feel like that has to be important somehow because like, they're giant. There's a giant's friend that is just like mystery. This is like book 8 foreshadowing or something or something. I don't know.
This is like what's the word for like you see something on camera and once you notice it, it seems like it should be the biggest deal, but it's like so out of focus that you could just not notice it. Giant creatures walking in the high storms. It doesn't seem to be a big deal at all. This is crazy to me.
I know. It is crazy.
But it totally makes sense. There's giant things, a high storm. It's par for the course.
I expect weird crap to happen in the high storms.
Yeah, it's a crazy world out there.
Yeah.
Dalinar could ask the Stormfather, and he hasn't.
Well,
Dalinar could ask many things, and he hasn't. And I am not happy about this.
We just needed like 100,000 words of the Dalinar probing the Stormfather of information. Like, can you just like tell us about that? And Stormfather's just like, no.
No, I don't remember
Dalinar's defense, it's been like 30 years. And there was a period of time where he was like a heavy alcoholic. So,
I mean, he does grill the Stormfather about stuff, but just in order of importance. So I guess this is just not that important to him.
Yeah. That's such a mystery, though. Why do those matter? Like, is this just a flavor thing? This is gonna matter somehow. This is foreshadowing for something. I just don't know what it is.
Well, this being said, it may not be like a plot kind of foreshadowing. It could be just a cool world. Like these could be some form of like high storm friend, not in the way that the Stormfather is, but
yeah. I mean, that's all.
I feel like it's got to be related to high storms, but
for sure, I wouldn't expect them to be of odium, but like,
yeah,
could be something interesting with like Honor's death or something. You know, like there's a lot of possibilities. You know,
I agree with Evgeni. I mean, like some it could be just like a cool world building bit that just isn't relevant now. I'd still be excited.
I think it'll be relevant at some point.
I hope so.
Maybe. Next question comes from an unknown questioner who says, what would happen if Hoid held Nightblood?
This is on topic for what we were talking about a little before.
Brandon says, Hoid would not do that. Hoid would stay very far away. Not even hold it. Jumps in Storm Lightning, a member of our community.
Yeah.
He would stay really far away, says Brandon. There are very few things in the Cosmere Hoid is afraid of, and Nightblood is one of them.
Yep.
I thought he'd be afraid of the Blade End, says Storm Lightning. So let's just say if very, very, very few things in the Cosmere had a chance of destroying you, you wouldn't even pick one up. You'd try to be in a different room entirely. A collective whisper about Nightblood being able to destroy Hoid comes from a bunch of Sharders. which Brandon overhears with his elven ears and says, I didn't say, I said theoretically. I said had a chance of, I did not confirm. Hoid doesn't know, but there is a chance, and so he's not going to risk that.
Smart.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would get away.
Yeah.
Hoid's stance is Nightblood, not even once.
Right. It's a hell of a drug.
I understand his caution. I really want to see what happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mistborn
yeah.
Era 4. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's.
It's like-
that is very true.
It's like my favorite question is about Hoid's characterization, which I never really thought about it until he beat Kelsier as much as he could,
Oh yeah,
But-
that was amazing.
which is amazing. But
Beat
it's
him
the
up a
first,
little bit.
he made him up a little bit. But it also made me think, maybe Hoid would be destroyed by Nightblood. Who knows?
Oh, in that sense, that's.
Yeah,
true,
like his character, like
I was.
Nightblood being destroyed. Anyway.
I was more thinking on a magical mechanical level because
Yeah.
we're
I was
we're-
thinking about like would he fall into like Nightblood's
Yeah,
thrall?
well, you
That
think
was
that
my
it would-
first automatic.
Yeah,
I wasn't
if
thinking
Nightblood
about
thinks he's
mechanics at
evil.
all.
yeah. I'm shocked.
All this being said, an important thing that Brandon says here is that Nightblood is one of the very, very, very few things in the Cosmere that have a chance of destroying Hoid.
Yeah.
Like, Hoid is a lot more indestructible than
Most things.
Yeah.
than we previously thought. Even like we knew he was not afraid of Yasna's Shardblade, and we
Yeah.
knew he can heal from damn near anything.
Yeah,
He's afraid of shards and he's afraid of Nightblood.
that seems like a pretty good list.
Yeah.
like,
That
you know,
seems like
And that's probably about it. Yeah.
that's probably about it.
When we're talking on the Cosmere level, like we're like, oh yeah, obviously, but if you're only afraid of that, like,
That's not a
come
big
on, that's
list.
that's actually a pretty small list. That's
Just don't piss off Race too much.
Don't attract wasted attention.
Yeah. I mean,
that's-
his whole point is to piss off Race.
It's a little too late.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, next one. Storm Lightning asks, is there a limit to Hordling size? Like, what is the size of one? And Brandon Sanderson says, yes. Storm Lightning, should I be worried about White Spines being a Hordling? Brandon says they are not a Hordling. Storm Lightning, so what's the size limit? Brandon, fist size is about how big they get. Storm Lightning, and how many can you have for one? Brandon says lots, more than you have seen on screen.
Oh.
Excellent.
Thank you for killing the horde of chasm fiends becoming
Oh my
a
god. no.
sleepless, which
Oh,
was
you know what this reminds
terrifying.
me of? It reminds me of what was that movie in Egypt?
In Egypt?
Well, like
Prince of
ancient,
Egypt.
not Prince of Egypt.
That's the only
The
one.
Mummy?
With the mummy.
The mummy. Yeah, the
Oh.
scarabs.
Yeah. Like the horde of scarabs. Just it's a sea.
Oh, yeah.
for the record, we are talking about the Brendan Fraser one.
Yeah, not the Tom
which is the
Cruise
good
one. Come
one.
on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
The
we're-
first
we-
mummy.
Who has a character in it named Evie, not
Hey.
Evie, and it's
Yeah.
spelled differently.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ah,
But yeah.
Okay.
So that's terrible. I mean, that's kind of what happens to those skybreakers in Edge Dancer.
Yep.
yeah.
So would it be like a Lethe man-sized fist? Because they're like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I don't think it matters all that. I mean, also they're not quite seven. Like
So this
Calidus.
was just to rule out chasm fiends.
For me,
Basically-
yes.
Okay.
Well,
But
white
like
spine.
fist
White
size,
spine.
that's a wide range.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's cool. Someone later asked, a lot later, sometime in this tour, about if they can be the size of chasm fiends. Like, if you have all the hordlings together, if you could be a chasm fiend size. And I think Brandon either said no or Raffod. I don't remember. I
Probably.
think it was a
not.
no. Yeah, that seems a little too big.
I have a feeling Disians wouldn't be much larger than humanoids.
Yep.
He does say more than you have seen on screen, and we've seen humanoids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be like bigger than Shaq, but you couldn't be a chasm fiend.
To me that implies like bigger than human. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would go chasm fiend, but maybe I would go half chasm fiend. I don't know.
Also, a larger number doesn't necessarily mean larger size. Like maybe they can breed more, but they have to keep their mass about the same.
True. That's possible.
In which case, maybe they gain like finer control over all of the hordlings. You get more, like you have more feelers out there in the world.
Now I want sleepless viewpoints. Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
Technically,
so weird.
we have already had sleepless viewpoints.
In the back of
I
the
wouldn't
book.
call
On the
I wouldn't call the back of the book
cover?
technically.
That's
called
a
that a
thing
review.
that a Sleepless wrote down that we are reading. That's like saying reading the Oathbringer epigraphs, what Dalinar's writing down were in Dalinar's head.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as Dalinar's viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's not the same. All right, next question. Can a metal mind be made into a sentient object? Brandon, if it's already got investiture in it, yes.
So like awaken it.
It could feel feelings.
Maybe.
I don't know if awakening itself would necessarily do it because investiture resists other investiture, so
And also, if it's keyed, the investiture would not. I'm getting all confused because I've read like all of these from the tour, and I think there was something like that if you're keyed, if you had that, the metal mind's investiture would be keyed to the person who put it in there, not the new object you're making. So like it would be weird, but maybe this is more of like a theoretical thing than like a practical thing.
That's the feeling I'm getting. More of a, hey, is it possible if a metal mind is already invested, can you awaken it, or would it resist
Some process?
And theoretically, any investor left alone for a long time will develop sentience. So
Enough of it, but I don't know if a metal mind's enough.
Yeah. Well, it's more likely the more investiture you have, which implies it's possible even with a very little. Just very unlikely.
But I don't know if investiture essentially stored in an object would do the same thing. Like it may need to be free investiture, like in Spren or Sions or Shards,
right,
or something to that effect.
In this next one, the Fulgid asks an Elantris question, thereby making them my new favorite Sharder for the moment.
Okay.
Would you be willing to share the failed process that Hoid used to attempt to become an Elantrian? Brandon, no.
I can just imagine his smirk on his face. It's just no, not gonna do that. Incredible.
Why do we want to know this, Ian?
I mean, I'm obsessed with Elantris, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
just curious.
It's also interesting to see how Hoid would have gone about trying to become an Elantrian.
I mean, that is weird, but yeah. But Brandon's just like, nah.
Well, I like it.
Nah, man.
I like knowing that he fails to pick up some of the Cosmere magics that he's constantly trying to.
But that was also a much further back in the past, so maybe he's better at it now. But
maybe.
Yeah,
I just would be interested.
Yeah,
knowing what we know about how Celesh magic works and how Aeon Door works, which granted isn't a ton, but it would be very unlikely that Hoid could become an Elantrian.
I agree. Yeah. And also this question is not the same question as why did Hoid fail to become an Elantrian?
Yes.
Which I think the Aeon Door and how we know it functions, if Hoid doesn't like belong to devotion or dominion, then that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Moving on, same question still from that Fulgid. In Oathbringer chapter 68, which says, some men as they age grow wiser. I am not one of those for wisdom, and I have always been at cross purpose. And I have yet to learn the tongue in which she speaks. Is Hoid referring to wisdom as a concept? To which Brandon smiles slyly
Yeah.
and ruffles it.
Wisdom is a shard.
And the reason we have this question is because some people on this podcast believe that wisdom is a shard, or something to the effect of wisdom is a shard. And this one line is like the strongest evidence for it.
Wanting to hide and survive is a very wise decision.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's the survival shard.
No. That.
So the next one, questioner asks, I'm curious, you mentioned at the Legion release that the fused were after the spren that Hoid bonded. Was there a specific reason why they wanted that spren, or was it just because the inaudible? Brandon
As
says,
usual.
Brandon
Classic.
says, I will say they would have done that for another spren in that situation. And then the questioner asks, any other spren? Brandon says, not any other spren, but there wasn't something uniquely identifying about that spren that they were hunting. The questioner clarifies, they wouldn't have done it for any spren, but there were other spren they had done it for. Brandon says, yes.
Oh.
So what is the situation that this spren was in?
I don't know.
I feel
I-
like this
Trapped in Kolinar?
I would say less trapped in Kolinar, although that could be. Could be a thing, like if they're trying to keep information contained, like a spren could easily leave the city and talk about what's going on in the city. Probably more than the spren was like along the had a half-formed Nahel bond.
Yeah, I think it's definitely this spren has already shown that it is willing to form a Nahel bond
Okay.
and create another enemy for us to deal with.
Right. So they wouldn't murder every spren, but a spren that was actively trying to make a bond that's like, well, we'll kill that if we can, you know?
Yeah.
That seems very sensible.
Because a
You-
Night Radiant is a substantial power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big threat.
They can deal with the fused in a way normal soldiers can't.
Yeah.
And the fused are kind of their trump card.
Previously, I didn't like that idea because it seemed odd to me for the Fuse to expend so much resources in hunting down a single spren, which could pose the threat for a single, like, it seemed way too much work for way too little gain. But on a second thought, a single Radiant it's a lot.
Yeah.
And they have to keep their prisoners occupied, so why not just set them digging?
Yeah.
They
then
don't
that was
expect
the
this-
other thing.
Spread to be getting anywhere, so it's just as long as it takes, just it's not leaving, just keep them occupied.
No, that was what Ben said, that it's like, is it really that many resources? It's like, they're just a bunch of slaves, whatever. This next one, questioner, do the people on Ashen know about Roshar? Brandon, some do.
There are
It's
people
interesting
in
that this is a-
Roshar. I mean, sorry, there are people in Ashen.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's floating cities.
Yeah, so
There's still people there?
Yeah.
the unpublished story, The Silence Divine, of which Brandon has read like a chapter, if that, takes place there. This is the infamous disease-based magic where you get sick and you get superpowers.
Yeah, that was
think
on
that was on-
Ashen.
I didn't think that was on this world.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's on
Ashen.
Ashen. Literally,
Yes.
yeah, I know.
And it is flying cities. Are they also upside down? I feel like they were upside down.
I think they're upside down. I don't
don't
know if they're
remember.
still upside down, but I'm pretty sure they were
'Cause I-
upside
It's
down.
I
not
in the
think
meeting.
canonical, right?
Yeah, obviously. But I think in the reading, the character left a building he was in and then looked up, and the ground was there. I think that's how it worked.
the ground
And
covered in lava.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
that
that's
world's
great.
messed up.
And in our last episode, Gray, we had a thing where Ashen magic was not always sickness based, so like things changed over time.
Yeah, you should have listened to our last episode.
Which she literally couldn't have because we recorded it yesterday, and and
Trade
it's
secrets.
December 2nd, so yeah. But
I'll go back in time and listen.
Yeah.
to it.
right.
Did you just say it's November 2nd?
No, I said December 2nd.
Is that December?
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Sure
heard
said
November. I
December.
was like, no.
You just
it's
said
much
you
after
just heard
that.
the ember part and
The Ember.
yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of a very good non-committal answer because this could mean anything. Some do.
True.
Some
Well,
people
that's
know.
true.
I'm sure there
Is
are
there a-
world hoppers.
Is there a perpendicularity there? There's so many questions you could ask.
So why don't you give us the next one, Ian, as a punishment for not being able to hear December properly?
Okay. This question
Also,
asks,
you're next in order.
Yes.
Shush.
Questioner
Segue.
asks, is there a group on Taldane that's tied to autonomy? Directly, like working for autonomy. I'm after Sand Mages versus
The evil librarians.
Sad mages versus the evil
Brandon
librarian.
says, I would say yes, though there's some wiggle room in that question. I would say yes. I wouldn't canonize it. I would call it Word of Brandon canonized.
Thanks, Brandon.
Until it appears in the books, it's not super canon.
Super
cannon.
It's a giant cannon on top
Ah.
of Brandon's house, and it shoots words.
Yes. That's how he disseminates wobs
Yes.
through the super cannon. That's you know what that is right now? That's canon.
That is super cannon.
Next.
Squeeves asks the next question, which is Stormlight, when you hold it, gives a sense of immediate urgency or movement. Does Voidlight have a similar emotional impact? Yes, says Brandon. Is it the same as the urgency, or is it something different? Something different. What is it? Raffo, good question.
Brandon, I agree. That is a good question.
That is a good question.
That is
Yeah,
a
I don't-
legitimately
question.
good question.
I don't agree with the raffle part, but it's a good question.
I don't agree with the Raffo.
So, do we want to? I mean, we can't even theorize, right? We can
We can guess.
brainstorm.
Why
would
Stormlight is supposed to leak out because probably the storms always have motion, right? And so that's kind of a thing, right? It's supposed to like represent the storms, right? Whereas
Could be,
Voidlight
yes.
sucks in, so it wouldn't. Maybe it would have like the odium-y thing of that maybe you feel like less emotion or something. I don't know.
Empty, kind of.
Emptiness, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I
So
was thinking.
stillness, emptiness, emotionless.
I like that.
And maybe this could tie into praise, like how the fused praise people for having passion or great passion. So if it is normal for them to always be filled with void light and to not feel much, then anyone who can kind of power through that and be emotional and passionate about things, that might be
You're
noteworthy.
impressive.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I actually really like that. Actually, that's really good. I like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it makes sense given what we know about odium.
Yeah. No, I think that's very sensible.
Here's the next question. What is the opposite of Stormlight called? Brandon. Some would argue Voidlight is the opposite.
Thanks, Brandon.
Well,
Thank you.
I think the reason why he's hedging is because Brandon has intimated recently-ish that there could be a cultivation light or third light,
Maybe
maybe.
the
And so,
last
like,
light.
it's not a
Like-
duality, right? So there's not like
Yeah.
opposite per se. It's not like ruin and preservation because there's 3 shards, right?
And also ruin and preservation are the most perfect set of opposites in
Right.
the shards.
Yeah, right.
So it's not like otter and odium are opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's important to realize.
But if we think about Voidlight being a calming void and Stormlight being pushes you forward, that kind of
Like
would lend credence to them being opposites.
Well, I think it's more of a Honor and Odium were opposed, and so Stormlight and Voidlight are, in that sense, at least, opposites.
Yeah. So the next one, questioner asks, does every shard of divinity, so to speak, have a metal associated to it? Brandon, they all have at least one.
Interesting.
So, God, I wish I had thought about this question earlier, because I could have prepared with other sources, right?
No. Hot takes. Hot takes on Shardcast.
Hot takes.
Hot takes.
Theory crafting live.
Yeah. Hey, look, it worked great for Voidlight.
Right. So this makes me think of, we've had a couple of words of Brandon on what it would take for a shard that is not Ruin Preservation or Harmony to get a metal on Scadrial, like elementically or magically viable metal, such as Trillium, for example.
Okay.
And the answer is pretty much the shard would have to invest themselves in that world, and they would have to start doing things which I've previously equated to, well, you got to go there, you got to dig roots in the world.
Yeah. Sure.
Which is how I think of shards investing themselves in worlds. And so this new at least one metal per shard could be an indication that, hey, for you to get a god metal, for you to get a physical manifestation of your investiture, which is traditionally metallic or metal-like, you, one, need to be a shard, great. Two, you have to go invest yourself in a world. But if you do that on multiple worlds, you might get multiple manifestations.
I don't know about that last part.
Yeah.
Like,
But Magic System invested arts are the result of the interaction between a shard and a shard world.
Yes, but I think you're a little too focused on the metallic arts. Because shard blades are a god metal that are not viable with metallic arts.
But we don't have honor invested on Scadrial. What I'm saying is,
right.
If honor, one, were alive, two, after doing the whole Roshar shenanigans things, got up, went to Scadrial, and invested himself there, would produce a metal different from the metal the shard blades are made of.
I want to say no, because that's weird, but you are kind of right that there is some interaction with the planet. I just feel like the direct divine, like, solid 100% solid manifestation of your thing is just that thing.
It would need to be
like at least one, maybe, and honestly, this could be as simple as, well, I mean, there's alloys of god metals.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking, because I think there is a word of Brandon in the future, which we will eventually talking about.
Yes.
Talking about does each order of Knights Radiant, their blades, are they a different alloy?
I think I didn't
metals?
Actually include this, so yeah.
How dare you? Because I thought that was actually an interesting one.
Well, you're not the one making these docs, so there. But yeah, they referred to them as a single thing, like it's not an alloy.
Yeah, because it's a person, technically. Like
you can't like split up those blades, you know.
But Brandon did say you could consider them 10 different alloys. So that's 10 different metals.
But that would probably be because each one of the Radiant Spren is a different composition of honor and cultivation, and so it results in a slightly different metal.
Well, any Spren really, even I would probably say, right?
Yeah, but the others can't manifest physically.
Sure. But like
yet.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
How was that, Gray?
So you.
It seems like a really involved discussion for like the word associated. That's what I'm saying. So
Welcome to Shardcast.
Well,
So if
Shardcast
you are a
indeed.
listener and you're thinking, man, that was a long discussion about not a lot. Yep.
Yeah, it
you
was.
have an ally
Bray is
right
now
now.
your voice right
You
now.
have an ally in me right now.
You have an ally. It's just,
You have a friend.
wow, that was. It wasn't the word associated. It was the at least one. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Good. Great.
Yeah. Next
And
one.
technically harmonium. Or
Yeah,
metal.
right. Yeah, right.
Okay. Questioner. Is the gold blade that Odium has his equivalent of an honor blade? Brandon. Not quite.
Can you guys remind me about this gold blade? Are we referring to the
Byers'
knife?
knife?
Okay, I would... Questioner, this is not a blade Odium has.
I mean,
I would not
Blade-
phrase the knife that killed Jezrien as...
Knives are
Yeah,
blades.
that gold blade that Odium has. Like, that would be something that,
Yeah, okay.
like...
okay.
Anyway.
I understand.
Technically, we never see this blade and Odium in the same room.
Right, exactly. That's why I'm confused.
I would have just called it the knife that Moash used, the gold knife.
I would call it Jezrien's stabbing knife.
Yes.
Not Jezrien as the subject.
Hmm.
Not quite an honor blade.
Well,
My
no.
take on this is that this is Brandon's way of saying, nah, not at all.
Good question, but no.
This is a highly understated, not quite.
I think it's sort of like maybe it's in the same family of things because we know honor blades have their own special rules, like way different from the whole radiant thing. But
Sure.
Yeah.
I expect we'll see more about Moash and what he's doing, and we might get answers about this
yeah.
gold blade. And
Oh,
we don't even know that much about honor blades and like their special rules.
No,
That is
we
true.
don't.
So I mean,
I think the one thing that's gonna end up being similar between Vyre's knife and the honor blades is that they are made of a god metal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I see. Like the gold blade is made of Odium's honor
Yeah.
god metal. Honor blades are made of Honor's god metal, but honor blades have more stuff going on with them.
Yeah.
Which is gonna take us to the last question of this event, of the release party.
Yes.
Hope it's good. I really hope it's good.
It is.
It says,
It's kind of cool.
are you going to add space whales to the Cosmere? There will be things like that, but they won't actually be whales.
I mean, if they were actual whales in space,
What?
I
hey,
would be very
listen,
surprised.
like
Brandon, what?
maybe they'll be like spaceships.
Yeah.
Giant.
I am
spaceships.
updating my theory from last time. The deepest ones are
Space
giant
whales
space whales.
that are cognitive shadows.
Shades.
Rarity,
Other
infused with
sci-fi.
ambitions.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Space shades.
Space shades. In space, nothing can see your shadow. That is a terrible tagline for a crappy space horror movie. You're welcome.
So,
Yeah.
Wait, Shannon, you were
Ray,
trying to
had
say
something
something?
to say.
Yeah.
no, I was just gonna go start talking about like organic things living in space, which is
No,
a
yeah,
thing.
no. That's why I think this is cool, right?
I
Like,
think it's
this-
really cool.
Yeah.
I
No,
can't
I'm
wait
with
to
you.
see. I feel like maybe this will be later when we get to sci-fi things, but I want to see space whales or maybe no, yeah.
Well,
Space
space,
whales.
space, not quite whales.
Maybe we won't even get to real space. Maybe this is like a cognitive realm thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, assuming there was organic life in the Cosmere that lived in interstellar space,
Yes.
or outer space, I should say, would it have to feed on investiture?
Probably.
Inorganic
not-
matter? Like
It
rocks?
doesn't have to be organic, right? You know?
That's true. It doesn't have to be
Could
organic.
be like a
That's true.
physically spread thing in
Physical
space.
sprint, yes.
It could,
In
could be.
space.
See, like I don't know if I would. I want there to be real space whales
That would be
'Cause-
awesome.
because they've shown up plenty of times in Star Trek. Like, come on,
Not in the Cosmere.
This says in the Cosmere.
Well, but won't actually do.
Things like that. Do you want us to move on? Oh no,
How
that's
do I
whale.
keep-
No, I
Eric-
just wanted to do space. I just wanted to do space whale noises.
Yeah, it took me a
Yeah.
second to realize you were doing something. Okay. All right.
Let's move on to the San Diego signing. Wait, we got through one signing. This series of Skyward Words of Brandon won't take forever.
No, not
God.
forever.
He's been making decent progress.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Ish.
you're right. You're right. We're by the way, we are not talking about a lot of other things that were in these releases. So
Oh yeah.
you just
Yeah.
go to wob.comfortmind.net. Has everything you need, unvarnished, direct from the super canon.
Also, a lot of things you don't need.
A lot of things you don't need, but it's all super canon.
Kind of canon.
Word of
Same as
Brandon
from this
canon.
race.
Word of Brandon
not
canon.
race.
Great.
So the next one, the first from the San Diego, is questioner asks. So, the 16 shards, is it possible that there are more than 16, yet they do not know of them? Brandon, this would be possible, but I'll just go ahead and tell you, no, there aren't. That'll stop a lot of theorizing, though it is possible that shards have been divided and things like this.
Brandon, I almost never say no. Sanderson.
Brandon. I forgot that. Brandon, I almost never say no.
Oh, Brandon.
But I mean,
I'd like
yeah,
I'd like to see divided shards.
I mean, honor, devotion, dominion. Take your pick.
No, but those are like, that's not like divided into two different people.
Well, I mean, you're just not taking a broad definition of the word divided.
I'm taking the word divided and meaning like, you know how like ruin
Yeah,
and preservation became one being. I want to see the opposite of that.
yeah, you did. Instead of 2, there's 10,000. Easy. No, I see what you're saying.
That's not
I
what
No, I absolutely do. But welcome to Pedantic Cast, Gray.
that's not what I meant.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, that's what I want to see. That's what I focused on in that. But
Yep.
kind of neat. And a solid answer.
Yep. This next one asks, you mentioned White Sand Volume 3. Do we have a release date? Brandon, we do not have a release date, but the script is done. We like the script. We've fixed slatrification, we hope. The ending is much improved over the novel, in our humble opinions.
That's not-
And Brandon later says that the ending of the prose has one really good element and one really bad element, and we took out the bad element and focused on the good element. I think it really kind of came together. That's great news, because I did not like the ending of that book.
I
I
did.
barely remember the ending of that book.
Yeah, it's because it's not memorable.
I don't know anything about White Sand.
Yeah, it's fine.
And you don't need to.
Yeah.
There's a guy
I
called
know about
Trell.
the boombox meme. That's all I got.
Cat on!
Oh, Chris
Get
is
me
from,
my boombox!
It's from White Sand. That's what I know too.
Yeah, White
It's very
Sand
important
in
for the
a,
ritual.
shut
Sorry.
up. In a tweet or less. There's a guy
Cat
called
on.
Trell.
Don't shut me up.
There's Magic. There's Chris.
There's sand.
There's
Chris,
autonomy.
There's a okay.
Eh,
Don't ask me to just get into all the little things I know about Taldane,
yeah.
because it'll just be like, hey, there's a light side and a dark side. That seems fun.
Yeah. It's
They
it's
do
a
wear
full solar
robes because
system.
they're in the desert.
Yeah.
They're sand Jedi.
Sand Jedi.
Kind of, though. It's kind of like that, though.
So-
Kenton's a Jawa.
Yeah. Ian, what do you think about this slatrification thing? Because you famously hate slatrification as well.
I actually don't. I famously hate the idea that Brandon is going to
Oh, right. Sorry.
rewrite the prose version to fix slatrification and uncanonize the graphic novel, which is a stupid idea.
Well, we don't know what Volume 3 is gonna have for we don't know what fixing.
No, like,
slatrification
for the record, if he fixes it in the graphic novel, I'm all for that.
Sure.
It's like disregarding the graphic novel and just writing it as a prose novel again.
Sure, right.
That I hate.
He would not do that.
He mentioned it like multiple times, and I was not happy.
David's a big fan.
He
Yes,
would
he
not
is.
do that. Like, he's got way too many projects on his plate. For
I mean,
him
that's
to,
true.
Like, the reason White Sand is a graphic novel is because he doesn't have the time to fix it in prose, and he wants to have that story out in some format.
What Brandon wants to do and what he has time for are different things.
Yeah.
So this goes back to our earlier discussion on Decian aliens.
Oh yeah.
Can they have kids with humans?
Oh God.
No.
Oh God. Questioner asked, regarding Dacian aliens, the Kremlings that make them up are spread about in a large area. Brennan, they can lose touch if the distance is too far. They can lose contact with the mind of the whole thing. Questioner, would their cognitive aspect be affected by that? Brennan, yes, it would be. I'll just leave it there, but yes.
So I think this and I think we had more concrete destruction of the idea that the sleepless will be Ansibles.
Yeah.
So that's too far.
It's a
Very
shame.
sad.
That is
Sad.
unfortunate, yeah.
That would be
I
cool.
really like that idea.
But this
Well-
means that there's a lot of, if they go too far, what is too far? And also, how many Decian avians are there just around us all the time?
4.
Right now, in your house.
4.
Oh my god.
4.
But we know that Dacian aliens are important for Era 4. So if they're not Ansibles, why are they important?
I mean, there are probably
That's
other...
when they become space bugs.
I mean, like, I'm sure it's like
Giant
something really
space whales.
cool. I'm just like, what could it be?
They're
I mean,
space bugs.
So the way you're thinking of it is you're thinking critical for Era, like important to the world of Era 4. They could be just important to the plot, the story that Brandon wants to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't require them to be
Wow.
Ansibles.
You
I
can
know.
just see Ian's fun just
I mean, like, that's pretty much what I just said. Like, they're not Ansibles, so why are they important? I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, the
Oh, okay.
plot. Yeah.
I missed your excitement. Anyway,
anyway.
Ooh, this episode is so connected. We get Amy and stuff, Hoid stuff, and more Voidlight stuff. This is a cohesive episode. We're just going in order, and it's just turning out great. It was all pre-planned. We had everyone ask these questions clearly, so that we
Yes.
would get good Shardcast episodes.
What?
Whose is this?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It'll make writing the description really easy. Read the
Okay.
next one.
fantastic. I will then read the next one, which is
Great.
from an unknown person who says, is the reason that the Fused have access to unlimited void light because Odium's alive, and the Radiants have that access garbo. Presumably, I think the inaudible is diffused unlimited void light, and Radiants don't have unlimited because Honor's dead, but Odium's alive. And Brandon says, not exactly. They do not have access to unlimited void light. How about that?
Which is very interesting.
It's a relief.
It's
That's
also
true.
it.
They
I
don't have
mean,
unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that could also be trivially true. Like the Heralds didn't have access to unlimited Stormlight.
Didn't they?
They just
They
had
had-
access to a lot.
They
of
had
Stormlight.
direct access to Honor.
Like
Right.
Odium doesn't have access to unlimited investiture.
I mean, I feel like that's not in the spirit of what Brandon is saying here, but you're right. You're not wrong.
I have learned the hard way not to underestimate the level of Brandon's troll.
Well,
True.
Brandon, all 16 shards are invested on Roshar, technically. Sanderson.
Brandon, technically
Technically.
all of them.
Yeah, technically all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to say that the mechanics of how the Fuse get Voidlight are just not things we understand, and that they
That is
do
true.
not, in fact, have infinite access to it.
So, what if we tied this to a question we talked about last time, which was void binding usually comes from the UnBae'd? Not always, but usually.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What if we say the fused, let's say the fused void bind. Let's say what they do is void binding. that could mean that they don't get their Voidlight from some spiritual, like directly from the spiritual realm, in a manner similar to the heralds getting their investitures through Underblades. What if they require an UnBae'd nearby that they kind of drain a little bit for Voidlight?
I don't know if I buy that, but I love them having limits.
I do want them to have limits, yeah.
Yes.
Which would put kind of the amount of Voidlight, of investiture they have access to at any one time at a lot, because the UnBae'd have a lot of investiture, but also not quite at like Odium near infinite level.
I kind of like that because it would mean that, how do you pronounce Ba'ado Mishram?
Exactly.
Ba'ado Mishram. Oh, sorry. Ba'ado Mishram.
Bay. How the Bay UnBae'd would have an effect on the fuse. But that would be an interesting thought. If,
you do know that was a joke, right, Shannon? That it's not Ba'ado Mishram. That was just
yes,
a joke.
I know. Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay.
Just making sure. Okay, great.
I'm
cool.
gonna, I'm just like, it is. I get it. It's a
Okay, great. Cool.
a
Cool.
The
fun-
Bay UnBae'd.
a Bay UnBae'd.
My Bay.
UnBae'd.
I would like to see her able to cripple, take down the fuse at the knees a little bit. I would love that.
He's
I'm
doing
not sure I
fine until
buy
it's
that,
an
but I
arrow to
like
the
the
knee.
idea.
Oh, also I was reading the comments on the Cosmere crushes.
Yeah.
Episode, and one of them was somebody looking forward to a showdown between Yasna and Ba'ado Mishram. And I'm like,
Anything
boy.
Anything with Yasna, anything with Ba'ado Mishram, I'm in. So that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Great.
sure.
All right, so that's all for San Diego, and then we get to San Francisco, which is the event I went to. We didn't actually talk about how Brandon actually did a reading on a thing from Way of Kings Prime. He read the first thing, a town viewpoint.
Yeah.
It was. Brandon said there were no Spren and no Knights Radiant in this version of Way of Kings, so a little different. A little bit.
Which is mildly
different.
contradicting with stuff he's said in the past. Because he's also said that originally there were only a few Spren, like Spren of the East Wind and Spren of the West Wind and things like that.
I think at that point they were not spread.
They were
They were just called
different
like spirits.
or
Maybe.
something.
I don't know.
Basically.
He had
But-
like an idea, but they weren't what we think of as Spren.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Because there were the 4 wind spread. The east wind kind of became Syl, and the others kind of became the
Yep.
Stormfather. So it's
yeah, but he'd read that, and you can read this all in Arcanum. It's not very well written compared with what we have now, and it was all very Herald focused, and yeah, so that was kind of neat.
Cool.
You can see this is a 2002 Brandon.
Right,
Yes.
right, and it's much better now.
And
It's so much
and
better.
I would in fact advise all of you to go read it. In days when you feel like we are waiting too long for the next Stormlight, or in days when you go, oh, why couldn't have Brandon just published The Way of Kings Prime?
And then you realize
Go read that, and you find out why
it was
it's
not
good to
published.
wait until 2010.
yeah.
But on to San Fran.
So again, I get the first one of the new event, San Francisco. Questioner asks, could someone who is spiked, not on Scadrial, still talk to the shards? Brandon, yes. Little asterisk, but yes.
Oh no, we now have asterisk and little asterisk to deal with.
Well, yeah, asterisk is Vivenna's Shardblade. I mean, come on.
Asterisk.
Little asterisk is because her knife.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is supposed to mean.
I think it's hinting at the fact that some shards can talk to people in brains, some can only listen.
Maybe.
And you need both to have a conversation. I don't know.
I don't think that's what this means. I don't agree with that, but I don't know what it does mean.
I mean, my mind went to if we are in Era 2, let's say we take Wax with his earring. On Scadrial, he has spoken with Harmony back and forth. What if he went to Roshark? Can he still
Sure.
do the same?
Maybe you have to do something to make that work, maybe? Or wait, maybe... Oh, I know what it is. Maybe
What?
another shard on another planet could just block that sort of communication with, like, a lot of investiture. You know?
Maybe.
And, you know, like, when you go to another... If Harmony gets, well, not free reign, but he has a lot of ability to do a lot of things on Scadrial, whereas Cultivation and Odium do not have infinite ability to do a lot of things on Roshar because they're in conflict, right? So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. This next one, I asked for Grace, and she wanted to know. In the death rattle, in the storm I awaken, falling, spinning, grieving. Have we seen it on screen? Brandon said not yet.
Good on him for remembering.
Oh, that's true. But Grace was thinking that it was either Nail and Lift at the end of Edge Dancer or something with Zeth, and it's neither of those, which is kind of neat.
Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I think it's
I don't. Yeah. Yeah, that is
I
interesting.
like that we have still lots of book 1 mysteries to go. I like
Oh
that.
no, the death rattles are.
I am
Yeah.
so excited.
I know. It's like book 10, like, oh my god, that death rattle. Whoa.
Hey, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for book 5 even. Like,
I mean,
Right?
Odium just showed up at the end of part 2 of book 3. I'm sure Brandon
will surprise
has
us.
plenty more to go.
Like
Yeah.
how big can the story get?
So this next question is from Space God Person.
Mm-hmm.
I like your name.
Yep. He's nice. His dad was
In-
also very nice.
Yes. In the Stormlight Archive, do corrupted Spren act differently in Fabrials? Brandon. Yes. Excellent question.
Excellent.
Really? What? That's wild.
I know.
I
The-
love this so much.
I wonder if this is because once they are injected with that foreign investiture, they are no longer the same kind of Spren.
No, they're of course not. No, of
Yeah.
course not.
But it's
Yeah,
like
I agree.
we keep referring to them as, oh, it's a corrupted Glory Spren, it's a corrupted Pain Spren. But
But
they're
it's
not
not
really
the
Glory
same.
Spren or Pain Spren anymore.
I agree.
But they still get attracted by the same thing.
I guess that's,
That's
true.
true.
Like
But,
Shallan had to flash her safe hand to attract Shamespren.
I guess that's true. But I feel like on an investiture level, like it surely must be different, right? And so the way that it functions would be
Yes, absolutely.
Attracted
they
to the same
are-
thing, but they act differently. Something has gone wrong. Like it might even just be on the level, like, you know, they were measuring the flame spread in that one interlude.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
it could even be maybe a corrupted flame spread would be like at a different frequency. I don't know, differently.
It would be interesting to see, and I'm sure we'll
Is it
see this more.
like, is it like flame spread is an easy example. Like, would a corrupted one burn hotter or differently, or would it be like, or colder? Would it just be? Would it stop acting? How far away from a flame spread would it go?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so-
I
I
think
feel
they
like there should be
turned
different.
blue. I vaguely
Oh, I don't
remember.
For flame,
Ugh.
we haven't
Dude.
seen a corrupted flame spread.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Neither do I.
Post in the comments below. Did we see corrupted flame Spren?
God, yeah, I don't know.
So, next question asks about the back 5 of Stormlight and whether they're going to be more Herald focused, how are the points of view going to work, and things like that. And Brandon essentially says that the first 5 are turning more on what happened with the Knights Radiant, and then the last 5 are more what happened with the Heralds. So we're going to get flashbacks to the time of the Dawnsingers and things like that, which is super exciting.
Yes, I
Very
was
exciting.
thinking about this. Whatever Talon and Ash's flashbacks are, like,
I think in the next episode we're gonna have a very, very spicy word of Brandon on the Heralds. And
okay, I'll
yeah.
definitely listen to that one.
Yeah.
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 So exciting. Just expressing our excitement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
yeah,
and
they
it's
like-
interesting to see what divides the two halves of Stormlight.
Like
with
we're
the-
getting more Nice Radiant stuff and more Herald stuff in the back.
Yeah.
Like that's a good like thematic.
Yep.
thing.
Yeah,
so I
that's
like
exactly what I was thinking as well.
All right, so the next one. Questioner asks, the missing number of shard blades. I just want to confirm that when the blades were abandoned, that all of them stayed in the physical realm. My question is, did some just evaporate? Brandon? Good question. They did not evaporate.
This one was asked by Fully Invested, who I met at the signing, and he said it was inspired by Shardcast and that Missing Shardblade podcast. Yay!
Hooray!
We have influence, which is scary.
Well, on that note, one of my own questions, which I imagine we're going to talk about in the next episode, was also inspired by the Missing Shardblades cast. And it was about whether most of the shard blades are kind of in the same place. Is there a secret cache of blades, or are they kind of all over the place? But that got rifled.
Yeah. Oh, well.
This just reminds me of Hoid talking about the purpose of a storyteller, and it's not to tell you what to think, but to give you questions to think about. We are not here to answer your questions. We're just giving you more questions to ask Brandon.
Pretty much. Pretty much. But hey, they did not evaporate. That's good. That is good to know.
They're out there somewhere.
They're out there somewhere, which in some sense is even more crazy.
Yeah.
And the Fused would probably be very interested in all of them.
Yep.
All right. So I asked Brandon one more thing, because someone before the signing reminded me how irritated I am about the Lord Ruler having children. Okay? And so I ask, note that Brandon likes trolling me in particular, so do be aware of this. And so I say, you've said the fandom puts too much emphasis on the Lord Ruler's children, and by that I mean me. I do. Is that because the Lord Ruler suppressed his ability to pass on his abilities to them? Brandon, no. Me. Brandon, you don't get this here, but I'm just so angry at this. Brandon, that makes no sense. Now I'm even more upset. It's my fault because I keep telling people that the Lord Ruler's kids should be important, so you can blame me. Brandon, people can be important and not be Cosmere relevant. Yeah, but they'd be like super powerful Mistborn. Yes, who died 900 years ago. But he spent so much time getting Fairchemy away from Allomancy. Brandon. Yeah, that's true. We're doing a podcast on the Lord Ruler's children. That's what we're gonna do. Coming soon.
Ish.
I mean, soon.
I guess I can see Brandon's point that people can be important without being relevant to the entire Cosmere.
I mean, that's true. But, they're so powerful. And Brandon's also said that those kids, they all didn't die off. They kind of mixed in with the population.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Maybe, Rashek was not a monster. Maybe he was okay with the idea of letting his kids live and die and do their own thing. And if that led to the chance of a full-born, as we've been calling full Almancers and Feruchemists, appearing in the population, then he will deal with that. That would be his price to pay for letting his kids live.
But the fact that there is no Feruchemy at all in noble society.
Yeah.
Because if he had kids and they interbred with noble society, there should be some.
Maybe they didn't interbreed with noble society.
But he's also said that, you might run into descendants of the Lord Ruler in Era 2.
Yeah, they've been mixed in.
With Ska, maybe.
But still, you would see Ska having chemical abilities, which we don't see.
Oh, I like that logic, Argent, because, the Lord Ruler doesn't plan to die. If someone develops those powers, I'm better than them. I'll kill them first if they're a problem.
In fact, he very much plans not to die.
That's kind of his point. But also, like, the terrace breeding programs happened much later, and, like, he probably had these kids much earlier. And Ruin's corruption got more into him, that, he needed to do this terrace breeding program, and maybe in the first century or two, he didn't care about that, and was just like, hey, ladies, I'm really awesome. What's up? I'm God now. Sweet.
Spook 0.0.
Yeah. Maybe the Lord Ruler was more of a ladies' man than Spook. Had 1,000 years to be a ladies' man.
See, that's something I've always wondered about. It's like, did he have sex with people, like, even when he was super old? Like,
I mean, if he can look however he wants, I would assume he would not look super old, because he only looks super old when he's by himself. He never.
No,
looks...
I mean, like, when he's 900 years old, he is mentally super old. Is he still having sex with people?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
See, I've thought about things like that.
Yeah,
of course.
I don't know. It just feels weird to me, and it's just like, this is the god of a religion.
Yeah. So at some point, I feel like he would reach the point where he is not only so much older than anyone around him, he is also so much more powerful than anyone around him, that they just hold no appeal to him.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that logic. He's still a human and would still have human desires.
Yeah, I can see
There
it.
is not a lot of empirical evidence on
there's not.
on sex drive among 1,000-year-olds.
Additionally, given that he's tapping youth, like, what that does to someone's sex drive.
And we are assuming that he is at least attracted to women, in that, like, he had kids, so it's not like he's ace or anything. Which,
yeah, pretty clearly, I would imagine he would not have kids if he, didn't have those desires. Right? Like, that would be dumb. That would be super dumb.
yeah.
That would be, like, extra dumb. As dumb as this all is.
I'm glad you guys are having fun.
I am having fun. We're gonna have a whole hour-long podcast on this.
On fun.
Okay. Moving on.
On fun.
Moving on.
It is
to
fun.
Brandon's,
From the Lord
not Brandon,
Ruler sex drive.
Eric's other favorite topic.
Oh, yeah,
Questioner asks,
Oh.
is Yalani a character in any other stories? And this is referring to the historical figure from First of the Sun, who was the only woman to become a trapper.
Oh, that one.
Brandon,
I totally
right now,
remember all this.
no. Good question. Questioner, does not seem like an Elican name, and there are people in Stormlight who seem to have AVR. Brandon, yeah, people in Stormlight do have AVR. That has happened. But let's just say, during Stormlight area, getting things on or off of First of the Sun is really hard.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, see, that's the interesting part. The
Do we
Yalani part I
think-
don't find interesting at all.
Okay, so I know there's some weird things with Paggy, in terms of
The J is not first.
yes, it is. No, I said Paggy. Paggy.
There's not a T there.
Let it go. Let it go.
Patchy.
I am so certain you're wrong.
The T's first, right?
Yes, the T is first, which is what Argent was saying.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely no. He said Paggy.
I think that's
because
his accent.
the T is like super silent.
What?
I'm not gonna intentionally pronounce Paggy. That sounds dumb.
No. Moving on.
Look, you're the one who says Pagdy, so
I don't.
you can't.
You do
yes.
say Pashti.
It's been
Oh.
bothering me for months.
I don't remember what I say.
Yeah, you have.
I don't
you
even
have-
remember what I tell these guys. Is like, hey, we're gonna go do this thing, and then they'll tell me. So I did what you said, and I'm like, who told you to do it that way? You did. Like, oh.
Okay, so stop being bad. It's Paggy.
Yeah, okay.
Can
Yes, it is weird.
We probably think that Peggy cannot leave first of the first. No, first of the first is the star. First of the sun.
I would assume no.
Right? Because Avatar. So, do we think that getting things on and off first of the sun is dangerous because the Avatar essentially acts as a guardian there?
I think it's because Patchy, the island, is a death trap.
Well,
I'm interpreting this to mean that maybe during the Stormlight era that Patchy isn't there yet. So there's no perpendicularity. But I don't know how you'd get on there.
There has to be perpendicularity there.
I know, but like that
Maybe
autonomy doesn't have to have invested there yet.
Sure, that's fair.
Maybe they're blockaded.
I don't know.
I think it's just Patchy is a death trap, and they don't know how to deal with getting on it, like dealing with that. Yeah,
I mean, maybe there are some scary animals there.
That could be it.
Yeah, they don't have the benefit of the trappers who have learned over hundreds of years how to deal with the island.
Well,
sure.
Okay.
Timeline's weird, so we don't even know what's going on there right now.
No.
And going to the next question from XNKVBO.
Great.
If you want to find out more about how I feel about people with names I can't pronounce as a single word, see the last episode. If an Awakener with perfect invocation turns something white, can they or another Awakener then use the white thing back to gray, back to white? And Brent says, I actually thought about this. My answer ended up being no. Can you give us a little explanation why? I will delve into it more as I delve into the nature of color and why it's relevant to multiple magics in the Cosmere. So it's a raffle.
That's interesting to me.
So let's...
I think color mattered, except in Warbreaker.
No, it matters for the gemstones in Stormlight.
Yeah.
Well, I just figured that out recently.
Yeah, right.
Like 2 days ago.
Yeah. No, and it's apparently matters in a lot of things, I guess.
No, in the last maybe year or so, we've seen more and more questions where Brandon is like, yeah, color is kind of a big deal in the Cosmere, and we're gonna look more into it in the future.
Which is all weird.
Do we want to walk through the mechanics of the question? Because Warbreaker magic and perfect invocation and bleeding colors to gray or to white are not necessarily something everyone remembers. So what does perfect invocation do, Ian?
Okay, so for an ordinary Awakener, they drain things to gray. Once you reach like the 10th Tightening or 9th, whatever, you become so efficient that you can suck all of the color out of an object, leaving it white. So can you then use white, which is all colors, to create more color, is basically what they're asking. Which, no. Color theory, very complicated.
Can normal Awakeners drain white?
No.
Can perfect Awakeners drain white?
I don't think so. I think this is because we're using pigment-based color. Black is all colors, white is no colors, versus light, which is white is all colors and black is the absence of color.
Oh,
so
right.
That's a common thing people stumble on.
Yeah, right. Because I'm a physics person, so I don't go with the pigment-based variety, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
But there is the whole thing that the 10th Tightening, you also prisms happen. Like I think white things around Susabron are really weird and create rainbows.
Yep.
So
I don't think you could use that color to awaken, because it'd be like trying to use a rainbow to awaken. It's like you can't touch it to drain the color from it.
It would lead to an infinite loop, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon
Right.
did say that there was something, I think this is a little later in this, but that if you shined a red light on a wall, could you drain that for awakening? And Brandon said you would use the red that was in the light bulb.
The light bulb. Yeah.
Not the light. So, yeah, it's not the light. It's the thing that, it's the pigment, so to speak. Not quite pigment, but like, you're not grabbing the photons to do this. That's not what's happening, right?
Yeah.
You're not literally grabbing the photons and draining them.
You are changing the object,
Not our perception of the object.
not our perception of the object, but you are also changing, like there was a word of Brandon somewhere that you're changing essentially the spiritual aspect of the object.
God.
So
No.
That is
Awakening.
something he said.
Oh,
awakening
man.
is really weird.
Spirit. The answer to why color matters. Spiritual mumbo jumbo. Hey, easy.
Hey.
That's
Welcome
pretty
to the
much the answer
Cosmere.
to everything in the Cosmere.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why don't
Cool.
we wrap up with some
Well, that was good to in case you forgot like I did about the weirdness. I remember it being weird, but thank you.
I think we are
Cool.
still in
I
a place
forget-
where we
I
all
forget
think it's
so
weird.
much Cosmere magic. So,
Yeah, I know.
hey, listen, Mistborn stuff. I was just like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Do you not want to talk about the Lordless children, Shannon? Ah!
I forget. Listen, it's been years since I've like had to be up on my allomancy, my ferochemy, and my hemalurgy. I don't remember
Yeah, that's fine.
any.
That's fine.
you.
There's plenty. Statistically speaking, there's plenty of Stormlight to talk about. So
My
you're
hope.
fine.
So last one from this event. How about something related to Emperor's Soul? Brandon says, I had a really good idea for a sequel earlier this year, but I don't know if I'll ever do it. I don't want to Lucas it. I don't want to take something that works so well on its own and then make something that makes it not work as well on its own. I might do it, I might not.
I understand that, but typically when Brandon has a good idea, it is good.
It's a good idea.
I
In
I
my
understand
opinion-
the fear.
He
Mhm.
should write it, and
See
if
if
it sucks, never publish it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like if you know, his editor and stuff, and it goes through the process of like, yeah, this is trash. Emperor's
But if
Soul
he's just
is
afraid-
wonderful.
If he's just afraid of like, oh, I might ruin it, you'll never know if you don't try.
Or
You,
can
you
just
know,
give
I'm
us-
sure he will try lots of things when he has Stormlight 4 off his desk.
Yeah.
No, then he's gonna go to Stormlight 5.
Yeah.
He's not going to go
Well,
immediately.
not immediately. No,
Not
no.
immediately.
He'll
Um,
he'll branch out a bit, and maybe he'll write. He'll feel better about it after he's gotten that out of the way.
I'm just excited by the prospect of an Emperor's Soul sequel. Like
I would
that's
love it.
exciting to me.
Shy is one of my favorite characters, and I
She's
want her to
freaking
come back so badly, so
She
badly.
might. She does become a world hopper.
That
No,
I
that's
do
not
know,
what
and I'm
that
still
that's
waiting.
That's not
but
what that word of Brandon says, Evgeni.
Shush.
What?
That said, someone there was a word of Brandon where someone was like, "Hey, does Shy become a world hopper?" And Brandon's just like, "I'm not even going to answer yes or no on that."
gotcha.
And Evgeni
Um,
is saying that Shy is a world hopper, which is definitely not what was said.
I'm pretty
I
sure
want
you
it to
are
be
pretty
true,
right.
but I want to see her again. I hope we see her again, and I've been hoping for her to come back for a long time.
So we just did some research, and there's nothing concrete that says Shy is a world hopper. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. There's plenty more to go. Trust me, there's a lot more to go through. And we'll get to them. Well, maybe not next time, but soon. Either next time or the time after.
Either this year or next year.
Well, this will air next year. In
This will air
2019.
next year.
This one is next year, for sure. So, you know what time it is? It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character? All right, guys. You guys know the game. Send in a character with 5 clues to Who's That Cosmere Character at gmail.com. And we will read them and sometimes mock them. But we will read them, and each clue, our contestants will have a guess. And that's what we're going to do. And this first one is by some guy named Joshua Harkey.
Josh of Wa.
Yeah, the Joff of Wa.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
And
know.
Maybe it's Joss Hua.
no. So, this character, clue number 1, was in their mid to late 20s.
Is that just how all the?
Oh, sorry, they're all like that. So
Okay, yeah, just
don't focus on that too much.
Okay. Mid to
Because
late.
I mean, Dalinar was in his mid-20s at some point.
The Stormfall, no.
Don't think about that too deeply. Like
Elcar.
Adolin.
No.
Alend.
No. Clue 2. This character was a shard bearer.
Yeah, the right world.
Yakimov.
No. Good guess though.
Was a sharper.
Well,
Again, I'm just using the terminology that
Is a
He sent it.
sharper?
may or may not be dead.
May or may not.
But I mean,
Yeah.
we got Elokar out of the way, so
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, right.
Mid to late 20s, shard bearer.
the amount of pedantic cast of you used this verb.
this tense.
Listen, yeah.
This character would have had been
Let's get some progressive tense in there, you know.
mid to late 20s.
My God. Moash.
No.
Halloran.
No.
Ooh.
Excellent guesses. Clue 3. This character was stabbed in the chest.
Thanks for answering.
Great.
Just reading what's on here.
Not inherently a death sentence.
Tanalan?
No.
I don't think
Which
he-
Tanalan?
one of them was more
One of
than-
them was not stabbed through the chest.
I mean, they don't fit the age profile.
The age profile.
Well, say it anyway. Maybe we're wrong about ages.
No, I was not.
Okay.
You're also very humble. Extremely humble.
I am, yeah.
The most humble.
One of my great, many wonderful traits.
Yes.
Modesty. Stabbed in the chest.
Yeah.
What? Who wants to bet that Dalinar did it?
Statistically, that's probably true.
I mean, I want to guess Elokar, but I know Argent already guessed it, so I'm not going to guess it again.
But it's what's coming to your mind over and over again.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
I have this problem on Shardcast. So it's like I know this doesn't fit with one clue, but now I can't get that character out of my brain.
He was
Yeah.
also stabbed in the back. So
But if it went through, he was also technically stabbed in the chest.
Pedanticast. Let's analyze.
you were not wrong.
CSI Silverlight. Let's
I
analyze.
feel like this is
these-
some guy who I've totally forgotten about.
Enhance.
Redden?
No.
It's one of the shard holders from the four radial duel.
That duel.
Oh,
that went
yeah.
super well.
That was a
Went
great moment for my ship. But
Yeah.
Honor is dead. I'll see what I can do.
yeah,
Yeah.
welcome to the party. Adolin
You
says
still
to
haven't guessed,
Kaladin.
Evgeni?
I still haven't guessed
Okay.
because I'm running out of people that have been stabbed in the chest.
In the chest.
Like I'm getting Battle of Narak vibes. But I don't know. So I'll pass for now
Pass.
in the interest of time.
Clue 4. This character was in a relationship with a dark-eyed woman. You know it's always bad when it's a keeper or a sharder sending in one, you know?
Yes.
It's always
Yes.
it's like, everyone's face just crinkles.
God.
I mean, I'm garbage at this game.
Yes, me too.
Not as bad as Josh.
Dark-
Josh Walker, our fearless leader. Not.
Can you say it
Joffrey.
again? Just clue 4
All the
again.
clues?
Just clue 4. Clue 4.
This character was in a relationship with a dark-eyed woman.
Sabariel wasn't stabbed, was he? I'll
I
say
mean,
it.
He's alive.
You could live from a chest.
Yeah, like, not a death sentence.
I am pretty sure he was not stabbed.
Okay.
On
Wow.
screen, at least.
On
On-
Could have
on
been
screen,
stabbed at
yeah.
some point.
I'm pretty sure every opportunity where he could have been stabbed, he was like getting a massage or something.
Yeah, he usually is.
I also don't know if he's a shard bearer, and he's
Yes,
also
yeah.
not in his
He's definitely
mid
not.
to late 20s.
Listen, it's who I'm thinking of.
I know.
For extreme values of 20s.
Dark-eyed woman? Maybe it's a dark-eyed man. Is it Kaladin?
It is. No, it is not Kaladin.
I already said Moash. Dang it. Nope.
Also, Kaladin is technically not in his mid to late 20s.
I mean,
What?
he's
Exactly.
kind of
20.
mid.
Yeah.
What?
He's
He's a baby.
Yeah.
I thought he was low 20s.
Yeah, low 20s.
He turns
Oh.
20 during Way of Kings.
He's
Hmm.
a baby.
He's a baby.
Okay.
Baby Kaladin. Baby Kaladin, baby Tien, and then Tien gets killed.
Yeah, the age profile I keep getting off. Yeah.
I mean, granted, in Earth terms, he's like 22, but still.
That doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, that's mine. Whatever.
Stabbed in the chest.
I know.
I
This
wonder
is
if
a-
it'd be fun for me to sing the Jeopardy song during these. Would that be fun?
No.
Don't
Are you
do
sure?
it.
I think it'd be fun.
Try.
What eye color does the protagonist of the Rosharan Pride and Prejudice novel have?
He's also not stabbed.
No. That's
Like
the
what?
other thing that's popping into my brain.
Stabbed in the chest. This is gonna be some guy I've never heard of. Well, I've heard of, but then I forgot about.
No. I don't agree
Oh.
with that.
I'm still getting the rag vibes.
Hobber?
No.
Okay.
Oh! Okay. No, we're okay. I don't have it, but it's okay. Okay, just go ahead.
Okay. I
Okay.
think that's staying in the episode.
All right.
No,
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't. Listen, I just thought of someone,
mean,
but
I-
it doesn't fit the age profile, so
Oh,
we're
crap.
okay.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I also thought of someone who doesn't fit the age profile.
You
So-
want clue 5?
Yes.
Is it Taleb?
No. Clue 5! This character considered himself to be a patriot.
Graves.
Yes, it is Graves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's
gotcha.
dead. A few
Yeah.
murdered him.
Yep.
Don't remember.
Whoa.
that.
Whoa.
And it it's a good clue because the moment there are very few people in Stormlight who describe themselves as patriots. If
right,
not, like
right, exactly.
he might be the only one.
Patriotism isn't exactly a thing that, Alethi are all like, oh yes, patriotism. Unlike
So who was the
Leonidas.
person you thought of, Gray, that got that reaction?
I was like stabbed in the chest. I was like, oh my god, Yezrian.
Oh.
Yeah, doesn't it get, that's the opposite of the age profile.
I know. I was like, oh well.
Mid to
kind
late
of
20,000s.
He kind of
Oh.
froze in his like middle-aged years, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's like an older guy by the time he got
bit.
stabbed. We're
bit.
okay.
Yeah.
All
So-
right. All right, guys. Oh, that was spicy. That was spicy. This next one is again from Colton X9.
Oh no.
I'll just read it exactly as it stated. This character is from Shin.
Is from Shin.
That's what it
Are
says.
are they a Shinovar?
I would assume that is what that means.
Oh no, it's
I want to guess
I-
the grass again. I don't remember the grass's name.
It is not the grass.
Okay.
And I don't remember its name either, but it is not the
It
grass.
translates to sullen.
Okay.
Is it
I would have accepted that, but it's not the grass. So
Okay.
is it the farmer, Risen and Flakov? No, not Flakov.
Fuck.
I honestly
I'm
have
just
made that
imagining-
mistake. I have made
I'm
that mistake.
imagining Risen and Tvlakov going
No.
together on an adventure, and it is amazing in my
For the
brain.
No,
record,
Risen and her Babsk. They meet a
Babsk.
farmer, and it's the farmer who
Viston.
once had Zeth. Is it that guy?
No.
So for the record, when I couldn't think of the grass's name, I kept thinking to Vlakov. I'm like, no, that's not right.
Yeah,
That's not it. That's definitely not his name. This grass, what was its name? Kaladin.
Is it Seth?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Clue
someone
two.
had to guess that.
Oh, and
Clue
just like
2, which will be completely helpful for you all. This character was in the possession of a Thalen merchant.
in possession of a Thalen merchant?
That's what it says.
Is it Cherry Cherry?
No.
Okay.
Is it
Yes.
Seth's Oathstone?
That's not a character. and
That's
if it's
not a character. But
Ah.
no, it is not. I'm going to take that as your guess anyway.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll bite and I'll say, is it Zeth?
no.
That is literally what Gray
Yeah.
guessed.
Yeah.
At the end of last round,
But I was.
somewhere else in
You
your
were
head.
not paying attention.
This is
Clue 3.
2 episodes in a row.
Look, I don't.
Clue number 3. This character is accused of being a Voidbringer.
It's a chicken. Or it's a parrot.
Which chicken?
Which
Jix on none.
Oh, and Evgeni gets it. Hey.
I don't remember the chicken.
Clue 4. This character was last seen in a scene with Hoid, and clue 5. This character is a chicken.
I love Jix
Which
on none.
chicken?
Was it an actual chicken like we think of it, or
No,
was it a
it's-
No,
bird?
it's a parrot.
It's a
a
parrot.
parrot.
It's not that. It's not an actual chicken.
Oh, okay.
And they accuse it of being a Voidbringer because it says its name.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the menagerie thing, right? No.
With
No,
Shalon.
it's from Middlefest.
Oh yeah,
Shalon's
right,
flashback?
right.
Yeah.
It
No.
was like,
right.
oh, it's
Yeah,
a
right.
Voidbringer. Like,
Right. Great. Well, that was some spicy Who's That Cosmere characters. That is good stuff. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Shardcast. You can find all of Words of Brandon at wob.coppermine.net as usual. Come to 17shard.com for all your news, discussion, theories, and fun that you could ever need. And join us on Discord where you can ping us about how dumb we are or how great we are. One of those two, maybe. We're in the middle. That's fine. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, and you can leave us a review on iTunes, and we will see you all next time.
bye.
Jix on none.
He's a parrot.
I'm a parrot.
I gotcha.
Well, I'm a raven, and I say